Good afternoon, my fellow YouTubians. So 68 Camaro here. We've already got the firewall in and the toe, well, the firewall toe kicks, that's all one piece, but got the new firewall in with the toe kicks. We've put the inner rockers in. The inner rockers, those are in. So today, as you can see, I'm sitting down on my concrete floor, so I'm inside the Camaro, meaning there ain't no floor here. So we're gonna put a floor in it today. That's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be kind of hard to video the floor being put in because all the welding has to happen from down at the bottom, and I am a backyard car builder, so I don't have all the fancy stuff like all these big guys have. I'm just a little guy that I guess I was born with a talent. The first thing I'm going to have to do is, this is part of the original floor. That right there is the original floor, and which underneath this right here is the trunk pan, which is getting replaced because, as you can see, the trunk ain't no good either. So nothing's good. Everything's getting replaced. Inners and outers, all that stuff. But right now we're focused on the floor. So this is still a piece of the old floor right here. I had only cut it out enough to be able to get my inner rockers on. So we're going to go ahead and remove this right now. Or not right now, but after we're done with this part. Anyways, yeah, we're going to get this removed. But before we get that removed, I do want to explain what we're doing. Mainly because, like I said, it's going to be a hard video to actually video, because any welding I'm going to have to do is going to be underneath the car, right against here, but underneath the car. So so what we're going to do is put it on the floor and kind of slide it up and forward and into place on top of the toe kicks from the firewall right there, and push it up into place. And I am only one person. It's going to be a big ass struggle to get it in there. So I can't really say I'm going to film it, because it would, you know, who knows, it'd be the whole video of just me trying to get it in there. But once I get it up in place and everything, then I'll show you exactly what's going to go on. Now, these are all the parts that we have for the car, which is every single piece of metal you could possibly think of. But right there is the actual brand new floor pan. As you can see, it is a full floor pan with all the full braces and all that. We're going to get that pulled out. And so before I even try to stick it in, what I'm going to end up doing is drilling all the holes in here so it can be welded to the inner rocker. And so the less I have to stick it in and out before I actually get it to where I like it, the better I'll be, because again, I'm just one person. So the next thing I did want to show you is back inside the car. So let's get over there. So I said I was going to drill the holes in the floor, and what that's going to do is I'll have to get underneath the car and weld from the floor. I'm going to plug weld those holes right to this. Now, I don't have to worry about the outer rocker. First of all, we're replacing that outer rocker later anyways. But, and that's why it's hanging down here. It's all bent and it's really bad shape. So, but anyways, it's three pieces of metal. You got your floor, which will sit here. Then you got this inner rocker. Then you got the outer rocker on the outside. So basically what happens is, your floor is going to get plug welded to the inner rocker panel on this side, and then your outer rocker is going to get plug welded to the inner rocker from the other side. So that's what's going to allow me, without having to change the outer rockers right now, to get the floor in. And just trying to be methodical on how I'm doing it, because you can see every piece of this car is rotted. And so just trying to figure out what will be the best, because the next thing after I get the floor in is we definitely got to get this trunk and all this out of here. And I mean, you can see somebody welded in an old floor before or something, and then they put fiberglass on it. I mean, this thing's just a hunk of crap. Frame rails are junk too. So but anyways, we got to get something structurally sound up front before I start cutting apart all that stuff and doing the inner and outer wheel wells and all that. So no further ado, let's get this thing started to get fit in there. I went ahead and cut that old piece of floor out that was still there. I even hacked off the frame rails because we don't care, they're junk. I also took the lip right off of the, there's a lip that comes out of the trunk pan that the floor sits on. Because I'm only one person, I cut that lip out. I mean, the trunk's got to come out anyways, it's all junk. So but anyways, yeah, so that's what we're up against right now. So basically all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the floor floor pan on one of my horses and just get all the holes drilled in it before I set it down on the concrete floor to lift it up in here. Alright, this is the brand new floor pan we're going to put in. This is the front, that's the back. One thing I remembered is that I have these are what hold the bucket seats in. So that's how the floor comes, and then you got to buy these things separate. But anyways, the floor is actually fairly flexible without this being in there. So I'm going to leave those out and not weld them in yet until the floor is actually in place. But this is where we got to drill all those holes real quick. So I'll get those all drilled out, and then we're going to place it up in there. I drilled all the holes. This is the floor upside down and where I will actually be welding from. So I drilled through coming up. So I had to clean all these anyways, plus you need to weld it, so you got to clean it. So this is all the holes all the way through. So I shouldn't have a problem once I get it stuck and I like it. I can just start welding it. So right now we're just gonna start, right now I'm just gonna go try and put it in place. Well, I got the floor in place here. It was actually quite easy. I literally just picked it up off the ground and laid it up on top of the firewall, and I did put one sheet metal screw right there, and same on the other side. But that allowed me to be able to clamp it in the back. So it is definitely sitting where it needs to be sitting. It is kind of flexible, so you see it's kind of like dipped down. But when we put the trunk pan in, that'll straighten all out. Either way, there's just a tiny bit more adjusting to do. The one thing I do like is, I don't know if I can actually show you, but it's lined right up with the original inner wheel wells. So that's definitely a plus. So I gotta go eat supper, but after I eat supper we'll get back out here and do a little bit more lining up, and then I'm just gonna, when I do it, I'm just gonna put like, you know, 6 plug welds on each side, and just enough to hold it for sure, and I'll put a couple along here. I'm not going to weld it solid yet, only because we still need to fit the trunk and all that stuff. So but as where it's sitting right now, I'm pretty sure that's exactly where I want it. I did measure off a couple of old pieces that I cut out, and it's pretty much lining up the exact same way. Also, after we get that stuck and we like it, we'll end up putting the seat braces in and stuff like that for the bucket seats. I'm back from supper. Imagine that. Anyways, so now that I'm back from supper, I did a little more thinking while I was eating my supper. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do right now, but this is definitely going to conclude this video with putting the floor in, and I'll explain why as soon as I turn this camera around. Alright, so my thought was, instead of welding it on the bottom like I had planned to do, the floor, I really like where it's sitting, like I showed you earlier. I mean, it's definitely sitting where it needs to sit there. These inner rockers that I put in last night, they're sitting where they definitely were sitting before. So, and even back there, I don't know if I can scroll in so you can see, but that's lining up really well with the inner fender wells on both sides. But I still don't want to weld it completely because I have to cut the whole back half of this car off. I mean, everything you see back there except for that brace and the deck filler panel right there. Other than that, everything else is being cut off the back of this car. So, you know, we still got to line it up and everything. So what I'm going to do for now, until we get the trunk pan set in and all that stuff, is I'm going to pinch this together really tight, and I'm going to just put a few spot welds up through here. This all gets seam sealed later anyways, so it's not really going to be a big deal to put a couple pinch welds in there. But I'm going to do that on both sides just so it's nice and sturdy. And then in case there was an issue, it would be so easy for me to just run my cutoff wheel right down the weld I did and cut the welds off if I had to move the floor. I'm 99% sure I don't have to move the floor, but because I don't have the back half of the car together yet, that's what I'm going to do. So, again, boring stuff. It's just going to weld a couple tack welds in it. So, this will conclude the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it because really, this is the fun stuff. This is what I like to do. Take a piece of rusty cuckamanua and turn it into something that people say, holy cuckamanua. And even I say holy cuckamanua because, I mean, seriously, you guys saw what this piece of cuckamanua looked like. And now look at it. I mean, it's already, look at that. I mean, look at all that nice shiny black crap. And that's cool. I mean, that's cool. Wait, because you know what? Literally by like next week, we're going to be like 5 videos ahead. And this car's already going to be done. I mean, well, it might not be done, but it'll all be black, just like that floor and rocker panels and firewall. It'd be so cool. Okay, anyways, good night, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.